how you guys doing? Good morning. So I had a question from, I believe it was Pat, regarding trying to find the notes in major scales, okay? So you don't really need your ukulele today. This episode is more thinking than anything else. But if you want, you can get your ukulele. So the question was basically about how to find major scales, like find the notes. So for example, the C major scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and high C. Okay, so I have it right here on the board. Okay, and then the question was when we did the F major scale, F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F, and I played F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, and F. Okay, and actually, yeah, these are all your high notes here. Okay, so the question was more about like, why the B flat, or how did I know to use the B flat? So if we're in the key of G, is it going to be G, A, B, or B flat, right? And how do I know it's actually B, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G. So the question is, how do I know this? And the answer is there is a pattern, so you can always figure it out on your own. And because I've played for a while and I've played in different keys, I just kind of started to slowly memorize them, okay? But then again, so we're gonna cover that and just kind of remember that, learning this theory of how to find major scales without knowing the notes on your ukulele is kind of pointless, right? So you want those two things should go hand in hand, okay? But we're gonna cover that. So first of all, we're gonna need a chromatic scale. And we're basically gonna learn two things today. We're gonna cover two things. One is, like I said, right, if we're in the key of G, how can we figure out the notes to the major scale? And that can be very useful. The other thing I wanna talk about that, to me, in my opinion, it's not very useful, but it might be a question you might have later down the line, okay? If you look at the chromatic scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and D, okay, those are what we call natural notes, okay? All the notes that are natural, like if you look at a piano, all the white keys, C, D, so those are all your natural notes. And then the black keys on the top are your unnatural notes. Unnatural notes are like your C sharp, D sharp, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, and C sharp, okay? Now, unnatural notes always have two names, okay? So, first of all, if you let's look at G. If I take G and I move it one space to the right, I would call that G sharp. But if I take A and I move it one space to the left, I would call it A flat. So unnatural notes, all unnatural notes have two names, right? In this case, I'm looking at G sharp or A flat. So let's say I'm playing a song. Is there a proper name? Should I call it G sharp or should I call it A flat? Okay. And like I said, I don't think this is really important. Like there is an actual proper name, like depending on what key you're in, you might call it G sharp or A flat. But I've never in my life, was rehearsing with someone or told someone A flat, but it's supposed to be G sharp. And then they freaked out, like, wait, A flat or G sharp? Okay, that's never happened. But, since we're kind of on the subject, I figured I'll just share it with you guys. So, let's get started. A lot of thinking. Let's do it. Yeah. Okay, so the first thing I want you to do is, look at the chromatic scale. Okay, we need to know that. Okay, the other thing we have to talk about, because I think I mentioned this before in episode 24 when I was talking about transposing chords. I think I did talk about the difference between a whole step and a half step. Okay, a half step, so a half step up would mean from E, just go to the next one, F. So E to F is what you call a half step, okay? Now E to F sharp, notice how I went 2 notes over. That's what you call a whole step. So what's the difference between 1 whole step and 2 half steps? There's no difference. Okay, it's the same thing. Okay, so I want you to remember this formula right here. 2 whole, W means whole, H means half. 2 whole steps, meaning whole steps, 1 half step, 3 whole steps, 1 half step. 2 whole, 1 half, 3 whole, 1 half, okay? And if you look at the C major scale, this is what you're gonna notice. From C to D, wait, let me erase this real quick. From C to D, is that a half step or a whole step? So if you look over here, from C to D, I actually went 2 notes over, so that's a whole step. Whole step, okay? What about D to E? D to E, that's a whole step. What about E to F? That's a half step. Okay, F to G, look over here, F to G, whole step. G to A, whole step. A to B, whole step. And then B to C, half step. Okay, so if you can look over here, 2 whole steps, 1 half step. 3 whole steps, and 1 half step. Okay, so that's how the formula works. Okay, so 2 whole steps, 1 half steps, 3 whole steps, 1 half step. Okay, you guys got that? I'm going to erase this and we're going to try it with a different key. Okay, so gotta do some thinking. Oh, board's freaking out. Okay, let's do the key of A. Okay, so first of all, the first thing you can do is think all natural notes. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. Okay, so this is not your major scale, but I just wrote it out using natural notes. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and back to A. I don't know if you remember this, but I did tell you every scale starts with the root. In this case, it's A, and it's turn. Okay, so it starts with A, it's going to end with A. And all the notes in between might be different depending on the scale. But, okay, so with the major scale, first of all, okay, we need to make this formula true. So 1 whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. Okay, so you fill this in. Whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. Okay, so true or false, okay? A to B is a whole step. Is that true? Let's see. A to B, that's a whole step. True. Okay, so we're good here. B to C, is that a whole step? B to C is not a whole step. It's a half step, right? B to C. So how do we make this true? B to C sharp is a whole step. So I'm going to change this to C sharp, okay? And this is why we say C sharp instead of D flat, because I'm still going to take all the naturals, right? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, okay? Now, C sharp to D, is that a half step? I mean, C sharp to D, half step. True or false? Look over here. C sharp to D, C sharp to D, that's a half step. So it's true. So right now we got, okay, A, this is true. This was wrong, but we made it true. And now C sharp to D, half step, that's true, okay? So now we got, so far, we got A, B, C sharp, D. Okay, so you notice how the natural notes stay the same. If I call this D flat, then it would be A, B, D flat, D. And now we don't have a C in there. Okay, so that's why we say C sharp instead of D flat. Is it important to me is not important. If you just like to know these things, then it could be important. I would say this is the equivalent to when you speak English and then you say, do you have an umbrella? Okay, I said, do you have an umbrella? A-N, right? Do you have an umbrella? So I'm asking you. Now what if I said, do you have an umbrella? Okay, so instead of A-N, I said A. True, there's a proper way. I don't know if this is correct, but the way I learned it, if I remember correctly, is if the word that follows A or N, if the word starts with a vowel, then you would say A-N. Do you have an umbrella, right? But do you have a carrot? Do you have a carrot, right? So it's true. I don't really know what the proper theory is, but from what I understand, that's pretty much what it is. If the word starts with a vowel, you say A-N. If it doesn't start with a vowel, then you just use A. Okay, but I guess it's kind of good to know, but I've never said to someone or asked someone, do you have an umbrella? And they're like, wait, what? What? And then I say, do you have an umbrella? And they're gonna be like, oh, I thought you said, do you have a umbrella? Yeah, I was like freaking out. So I wouldn't say it's that important, okay? But same like this, I guess it might be good to know, but I've never in my life accidentally told somebody D flat instead of C sharp and they didn't understand what I was talking about, okay? So just kind of keep that in mind. Okay, so now you know that basically if you're ever in the key of A and you need to mention this chord or mention this note, you're not gonna say D flat, you're gonna say C sharp, okay? Now, okay, so let's move on. So half step, D is good. D to E, is that a whole step? D to E, that's a whole step, that's good, okay? E to F, is that a whole step? E to F is a half step. So to make it true, E to F sharp is a whole step, okay? Now, F sharp to G, is that a whole step? F sharp to G is a half step. F sharp to G sharp is a whole step, so let's change that. And then G sharp, boom. And then G sharp to A is a half step. So now this is all true. Okay, so if I play the notes, A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, and A. And that's your scale. Oops. Oh. Okay, so this is how you find major scale, the notes in a major scale. Okay, and it's just this formula right here. 2 whole, 1 half, 3 whole, 1 half. Okay, so now I'm just gonna do a real quick one. Yeah, like I said before, right? So we actually went through all that work and we figured out the notes that make up the A major scale. But if you don't know your notes on your ukulele, what are you gonna do with that information, right? So they kind of go hand in hand, okay? Let's do D, okay? We're gonna figure out the D major scale. So first thing I'm gonna do is write out the natural notes. D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. Oh, I need a new pen. Where's that light? Is that light blocking me? I have a feeling it is. I can't tell from this angle, but. Okay, anyway, so this might either make it worse or better or the same. Okay, so same pattern. D to E needs to be a whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. Oh, I'm running out of ink. Oh, there you go. Okay. So D to E, is this a whole step? D to E, whole step, true. Okay, so we're good. We're good on D, we're good on E. Okay, E to F, is that a whole step? E to F, false. We have to make it a whole step, so E to F sharp. E to F sharp is a whole step. Okay. Now F sharp to G, is that a half step? F sharp to G, half step, true. Oh, let me fill this in. Okay, so far we're good. Okay, G to A, whole step. All right, just said whole, half. Okay, so G to A, is that a whole step? G to A, true. A to B, is that a whole step? A to B, that's a whole step, true. B to C, is that a whole step? B to C is not a whole step. So now let's make it a whole step. B to C sharp is a whole step. So I'm gonna add C sharp. And then C sharp to D, you can look over here. C sharp to D, is that a half step? That is correct. So we're good to go. So now you play the notes. D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. Okay, and that's your D major scale. Okay, so a lot of thinking, but this is good too. The way you would use this is maybe in soloing or improvising, improvising in the key of G. It helps to know the notes you can use in the G major scale. Okay, and it's good because now you kind of know how to figure it out. Okay, so hopefully this kind of helps. And then Pat, I believe this is what your question was. I actually replied saying that I didn't know how to explain all of this through the comment section. So hopefully this video helps. And to everyone else, once again, if you guys ever have a comment or question, or maybe there's something I didn't cover, let me know, because I love doing these things. All right, so you guys take care. I will see you later. Cheers.